The internet is breaking and I'm losing my mind. So we all know there's been a whole lot of bad things happening in the last few freaking years, but even more so the last few weeks. Okay. We've seen a 5-year-old boy saving a little girl from getting raped. More than likely. Allegedly. We've seen a boy, a Scottish Braveheart warrior, not bowing to Allah, even when his teacher and his peers did exactly that in a mosque in Scotland. It is Pride Month. Yeah, I know. It's Pride Month. We have to, survive this again. So much is happening. And even with the Henry chaos that is going on, even with, the brand new revolution, which I'm hoping for and praying for, and it is time for liberation. I'm pretty sure that's happening in the UK right now. But with all of that, I just want to take a little bit of time to appreciate the fact that young generations, teeny tiny humans, are actually having more spine and standing up and protecting each other, standing up for what they believe in and protecting each other. So we're going to go down the rabbit hole. We're going to look at all of this and we're going to appreciate it. We're going to talk the responsibility of parents in order to make sure that their children are actually ready for this world that we're living in. But right after you have taken a second to please like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Click the notification bell. We're brand new. We're kicking off. We are diving into the world of chaos. Because when power cracks and society starts pushing back, you see what we're all really made of.
The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage. I regret to tell you that very many American lives have been lost.
All in civilian clothes, they've been armed with American M16 rifles and also rocket launchers and rockets.
With Jim and Jenny with P-Flag.
My name is Jessica. I am 38 and I am addicted to having abortions.
How dare you!
Результати потрібні, що ускладнює для Росії введення війни, допомагає наближати мир. Пам'ятаємо, що нам потрібно, захищаємо Україну.
Thousands are crossing here illegally every day and the situation is completely unsustainable. These are all single adult men. There is not a single woman or child in this group. 17,500 illegal crossings last week alone. That is the highest weekly total ever recorded.
Shoot to kill! Hamasa! Kill the poor!
Целью выбирают прежде всего, конечно, молодых людей, молодые поколения. И здесь опять лгут постоянно. Со своими собственными народами. Разрушение семьи, культурной и национальной идентичности. Извращение, издевательство над детьми вплоть до педофилии объявляются нормой их жизни. Священнослужители, священников принуждают благословлять однополые браки. Да Бог с ними, пускай что хотят, то и делают. Хочется им сказать. Но посмотрите, извините меня, священные писания, главные книги всех других мировых религий. Там все сказано. В том числе то, что семья – это союз мужчины и женщины. Но и эти...
Sie sollen sich hüten. Einmal wird unsere Geduld zu Ende sein und dann wird den Juden das freche Lügenmaul gestopft werden.
Eerst die eienaars van die grond in de regering.
There is a crisis of courage in our country.
The number one form of censorship in America is not big tech censorship. It's self-censorship.
So as you guys by now should know, on May 28th in Tumen, Russia, there's been another trashy piece of crap, a 44-year-old who went and kidnapped a little girl from, I believe it's outside, from probably a playground or something of the sort. I don't know. We don't have that details. He went, took her away from the group where she was, and tried to lure her, well, not so much lure, he freaking carried her into the apartment building. And a 5-year-old boy, which we do not know whether it was a little brother, whether it was just a friend or a family member, or what the case was there. But if it was not for this teeny tiny warrior, that girl would have been traumatized for the rest of her life. She probably already has trauma. I mean, come on. Who wants to be carried by a stranger and then see this douchebag pull off his pants? I don't know if she was already being undressed. It didn't look like it from the footage. What I could see is, however, is that his pants were down, and he pulled up his pants when 31-year-old Yulia came rushing in, took photos of him, took a video of him, and he put the girl down and she actually ran out. So let's actually have a look at that footage. So there's another girl. It seems to be another girl. I mean, the only reason I can say that is because of the longer hair. She runs away. We have this little brave man refusing to let that piece of crap close the door, and he yells for help. Look there. And he's so situationally aware that he not only tries and calls for help, but he does not take his eyes off this girl and this guy, probably to try and make sure that he can see if they are going into another apartment, like where they are at. But look at this warrior. So apparently this lady, Yulia, 31-year-old, she stopped her car in front of the building because she saw the kid yelling for help. There, she brought him out now. She took photos. She brought the little kid out. We're going to get the footage now from the inside angle. Here we go. So just rewind a little bit. They still, struggling, closing the door because the little kid the boy is preventing it. Carrying her up the stairs. She must be so scared. And right there, he put her down, and you can see his pants are off. There, his pants are off. And he's still pulling. She tried to run away, and then he pulled her back, and then the adult woman came in, Yulia. Rock star. And he pulled up his fucking pants. I don't know if he gave her a sign of some sort. I don't know what that is. But how infuriating is this? Oh, and here he's in, we might as well play this on the side where the police is not obviously, he's in a cell and the police is talking to him and telling him how long he's not going to be in the cell, etc., etc. But can we let's just go back. Let's try and put ourselves in the shoes of that little girl, name. So we don't know how she was raised. We don't know if she was raised with the mentality of you need to protect yourself. Does she actually understand what was going to happen to her there? And I know she's very young. I understand that. I get that. But I think we've raised our children in the last few generations so shielded and so protected that they don't fully understand the dangers they are in the society that we live in. And this is on us. This is on us as parents. I mean, if I have to think about my grandparents and my great-grandparents, how they raised their children and their grandchildren, every child was a warrior, both male and female. They were warriors by the time they could speak. Because the boys were raised, you don't cry, you don't show emotion, you don't show weakness. You get up. If you got hurt, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you move on. Right? Girls, They were very strict. Like, you're not even seen alone with another male anyway. You had to be aware of your surroundings, because otherwise, if you are shunned or shamed or whatever the case might be, you won't be able to get a proper, a suited husband at some point, because no one would ever be able to prove whether or not, you were violated, or if anything, was done to you. So there's a reason why we had such, I want to say, strict, not laws and regulations, but society has set standards, and we lived by those standards. Young boys, by the time they've hit the ages 6, 7, and 8, they've known, and they will die by it. They are ready to pick up a gun, and most did. Most did, even in my family, back when we were in the war against the British. Boys picked up their weapons and they fought with their fathers and grandfathers. They knew they had to protect their families. If the wives and the children were at home all alone, and dad is maybe off at the border, he is at war, or, he's maybe working away. If any danger comes home or comes to the house, that boy, the eldest boy, whether he is 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, he's going to pick up a gun and he's going to protect his family. And mom is not going to stop him, because she knows that is exactly how he was raised. That is how dad raised him. That's how granddad raised him. Because mentally they are prepared. In my lineage, our ancestors, look at the Viking Age. Look at the Crusaders. Look at just about any culture 100, 200 years ago. Kids, okay, I'm just saying 100, 200 years ago, but I mean, Viking Age is a very long time ago. The Crusaders, a long time ago. But for generations and generations, kids were raised as warriors. They understood the threats. It didn't make them any less of a child. If you want to approve, listen to this. If you think it is okay to let a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old mutilate themselves because they want to be trans, because they want to follow the trend, if you want to give them puberty blockers, because everyone's raging about how Russia is training their kids, hundreds of thousands of kids, training them for war, which again is just propaganda. But at least the children, yes, they are being trained, not necessarily for war, but they are trained to be warrior, trained to stand their ground, trained mentally so that they are prepared for anything that ever comes to them that is bad. If it is a stranger trying to pick them up, kidnap them, rape them, mutilate them, whatever, they will have some level of situational awareness where they can at least prevent that from happening, or buy time, distract the attacker, run away, because that ultimately is the goal. A little kid cannot overpower an adult, but what a little kid can do is distract the attacker, create a gap that's to some extent so that they can just run away. I mean, if that little kid, the little girl, if she put up a fuss, if she rammed her thumbs into his eyes, yes, he probably, some men would probably, take the child, throw the child away, down with their head hitting the cement or whatever. Yes, that is a possibility. But if she doesn't do that, she's just going to get raped. If it wasn't for that little boy who really went all out, refused, he didn't care whether he's going to get hurt. He didn't care whether, he's also being put in danger. He had one objective, and that is save that little girl from whatever was about to happen. And that speaks to character, that speaks to courage, to honor, to how he was raised. Because I'm pretty darn sure he has parents standing behind him that raised him to be a man. So again, back to my point, society wants to, give all the backlash to Russia, all the backlash to North Korea, to whatever country it is that raises their children from a very young age to protect themselves, to get them war ready. Because now they're taking away childhood. They are rewriting what it means to be a child. But you want to come with your transgenderism, with your mutilation, with your puberty blockers, and slicing into our children and removing the genitals. Don't you think that is removing childhood? Don't you think that is rewriting childhood? So, statistically, 90% of sexual offenders is family and not strangers, is friends and not strangers, is people that the children actually know. So what does that tell you? Those children were not situationally aware. They didn't have the talk, the very strict talk. They don't have people that they can rely on, that they can trust, that they can actually say, hey, something's happening to me. Someone is doing something to me and I don't like it. Or you told me that it's wrong. It's still being done to me. What now? What's the next step? Okay. Kids have the ability to identify that something is not happening the way that they were taught. They might not be strategic thinkers or critical thinkers because they haven't developed yet. I mean, they can't even make proper decisions. They can't make objective decisions. But what they can do is realize, you know what? Mom and dad taught me it's not okay for someone to touch me. It's not okay for them to pull down my pants. It's not okay for me to accept candy from a person, any person, unless mom and dad is with me and giving the okay. Much like how I raise my dogs. Unless I approve and give you the safe word that you can eat and drink whatever it is that's in front of you, you do not touch it. If I can train my dogs that, you can train your children that. Okay. People, I think it is time we wake up. Are you awake yet? Because if you aren't, you have a serious problem. Look at what Henry was facing. Look at all these children being bullied, being attacked, being sucker punched, dragged by their hair. Don't you think it is time that you raise your children to protect themselves? Why is it that only certain cultures where the blood still runs deep, the tradition still runs deep, our roots still run deep? Like this Irish girl, which I'll also put on the screen for you. Why is it, look at that. She's still, now compare this. She is still concealing her knife and an axe. Because all she's trying to do is protect herself against the migrants, saying, stay away from me. She only took it out, or, brought it forward when she realized they keep coming forward, and obviously they're taunting her. But look at the courage in this girl. She was raised right. Look there. She's standing her ground. She's a little Braveheart. She is a little Braveheart. So why is it that some cultures, some regions, some groups actually raise their children to be able to protect themselves against the world that we live in? We all realize what it is that we're living in right now. You look left, right. I'm completely disoriented when it comes to direction. You look right, you see a pedo. You look left, you see a migrant. You're in danger wherever you are. So what? You still want to keep your child in a bubble? You still want to, protect their childhood and not teach them, you know what? If you walk out by that gate of your house, you might not come back. If you are not aware of your surroundings, you might not come back. It is Pride Month. It is sickening. We know what our children are being exposed to. We know how they are being indoctrinated. But how do you as a parent feel when you see something like this? This Scottish boy who was probably forced to go on a history trip or something of the sort. I don't know. I couldn't find the details. He had to go to a mosque. His peers and his teacher, a spineless teacher, probably liberal, bow before Allah. But not this kid. He did not bend the knee or bow down, not because of peer pressure, not because the adult, the authority figure that is supposed to lead and guide and protect our children, not because he set the example of it's okay to bow down before Allah. No. This kid stood his ground. This kid said, I will not. You can take our lives, but you can't take our freedom.
And tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
But if you read history, our people, majority of the white bloodlines, if you go back, the British, the Norwegians, the Scandinavians, the Germans, the Irish, the Scottish, they all have, even the Spanish, they all have strong warrior-like histories. They have courage, they have bravery, they have honor. They have seen and understood death when they were still babies. I mean, it was nothing. People were numb. People were numb to death, and that to me is fine. We can't be numb to the evil that is being done to our people. But in order to protect our people, we can treat death as a temporary event. Just be reminded again of where you are from, even if you're not Scottish. If you are British, if you are German, if you are Norwegian, if you are wherever you're from, think how your ancestors fought for what you have today, which is now less probably than what they had back when they won their wars and their revolutions. We have allowed their victories to be trampled again. We're up against the evil, all the deepest, darkest evils. And I think a lot of the evil we can't even comprehend. We can't even wrap our heads around what it is that we're dealing with. But what we can do is remember where we come from. Remember what it is that we, as whites, are capable of. Because the blood still runs inside of us. We might have forgotten. We might have become comfortable, stagnant, complacent. But our DNA hasn't gone anywhere. What lies within hasn't gone anywhere. We might need to recondition ourselves. And by that, I mean not only physically, but mentally, emotionally. Because how many men today can still have the mentality, the emotional stability of men of 50, 70, 100 years ago and prior? And look, there's an entire war between men and women right now. It is the division is brutal. The division is exactly what the evil wants. Okay? Because men and women together is power, is unity. But with division, they have the upper hand. So we need to, I'm not going to go into, that's enough freaking content for an entire series of episodes. So I'm not going to go into the division between men and women and why that division is existing right now. I'm not going to go into why women are feeling towards men the way they do and why men feel the way that they do towards women. But what I am going to say is men need to remember who they were, who they are meant to be, how they are meant to lead households, how they are meant to provide and protect and guide. And women need to remember their place. Women need to remember what it is that they were designed for, what they were designed to do. Where is your place? You're a support structure. You're a nurturer. You're a protector of your infants, your dependents, as much as your man, your husband, your male, your partner is the protector of you and the rest and the collective household. Again, different topic, but it is essential for us to raise our households, to build our households on a solid foundation so that we actually can go up against the evils, whether it is spiritual, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental, whether it is physical evil. The physical attacks our children and adults are facing right now. People are being slaughtered left, right, and center. I've said this the other day too. But to protect our children against sex offenders, if we do our part, it will be a little less impactful what these evil parties are trying to do. So, let me give you an idea. I am a blue belt Krav Maga instructor, both children and adults. I can tell you now, and I will say this forever and always, Krav Maga means fuck all if you go up against me, personally, as a woman. If I go up against the man, I'm pretty sure a teenage boy, 17, 18-year-old, will whip my ass with zero training. Because genetically, he will be stronger. Genetically, he will have advantages. So unless I am, trained by the military, even then, I might be able to kick his ass considering he's a teenager. And I have proper military training. Krav Maga, the only thing it teaches you is how to fight dirty. That's it. But I can promise you now, you will not be able to hold a fight. And I'm not talking about Krav Maga on the level of the old Israeli military Krav Maga styles, okay? I'm talking the one that is being taught to civilians is the civilianized Krav Maga self-defense, okay? It is useless. If you go up against someone who has genetically advantages against you or on you, yeah, or is trained. If they are trained in anything else, they're going to whip your ass. They're going to kill you. Okay. But what I have learned Krav Maga does, the one thing I'm grateful for, is it helps with mentally conditioning you that, you know what, shit can actually get real. I might have someone who tries and chokes me out. I might have someone who tries and pushes me against a wall and rape me from behind, or tries and pin me down on the wall, pin me down on the floor. So mentally, I've learned to prepare. Mentally, I've learned to dissociate and remove myself from the emotional distress that comes with that event. And then what it has taught me is that I have seconds to play dirty in order to create myself a gap or a distraction so that I can run and get away or get a weapon or whatever. I cannot go up against someone who is an MMA fighter, who is a merc, who is military trained, who is, again, if any strong dude or any average dude goes up against me, unless I play dirty and have seconds where I use the element of surprise to distract him or cause so much pain that he is for seconds, disoriented or, grabbing his balls or whatever the case might be, going for the ground. If I don't use those seconds, I'm done. So what I'm saying is, Any form of self-defense that you can teach your kid will be useful. Just make good decisions as to what you teach them. That little kid, that girl, if she had Krav Maga, based on, the curriculum that I was trained in, she could have used, when she saw at least the little boy. Okay, first of all, let's rewind. Let's go to where, the guy wanted to grab her. We don't have that footage. I don't believe there is footage where it actually shows how he approached her, how he took her. Did he grab her? Did he at first lure her in? Did she trust him? Whatever the case, did he give her candy? I don't know. We don't know. But if she was already trained to be, aware of her surroundings, if she was trained to understand, I don't go with another man, period. I don't accept anything. I don't go with him, no matter what it is that he's promising me, whether or not I know him. If mom and dad is not here to approve, I don't go. I don't do it. And the moment he tried to pick her up, she could have taken her teeny tiny little hands and rammed it into his eyes. It could have gone two ways. He could either, if he already picked her up, slam her into the ground. Fine, she's going to get really hurt. She might die, depending on, is there concrete or ground or whatever beneath her. Or he will just immediately grab his face and hopefully she can run and scream, stranger danger, stranger danger. Let's say he grabbed her unexpectedly. Again, he held her only with one arm. So clearly she didn't put up any effort. And we can see this in the footage. She did not put up a fight. She reached out, she cried and screamed for the little boy. And the other girl that tried to also nag and scream or whatever. That's it. There was no physical resistance. She was freaking the fuck out. And yes, she was teeny tiny, she was young. So I'm asking, what kind of training did the parents give that child? She could have done something. Why is it that a 5-year-old boy had the courage and the cognitive ability to shove any, fear of what this man could do to him aside and said, I need to protect this girl. I need to prevent whatever is about to happen from happening to her. So I can say, I'm of the opinion that boy has got parents who's raising him right. He's aware of what is happening around him. He's aware of the dangers kids are facing these days. He's aware of what happens behind closed doors. And because of that, he could act upon it. He could prevent it. He is a hero. So, we have the footage here on the screen. Look at these kids. If they have the slightest amount of any form of training, boxing, martial arts, taekwondo, and yes, it's again a whole other topic. If you put one sport against one sport, there's certain martial arts that will whoop the asses of other ones. Okay, like karate. I'm really not a believer in karate. Nah. But it's like in Krav Maga, because we can play dirty, there are no rules. And because in Krav Maga, it's a combination of all the martial arts that you essentially put together in a curriculum. So you have a taste of every bit, every form of martial arts. But there's no friggin' way you're beating someone who always fights on the ground. No. If they take you down and put you in an arm lock or choke, you're done. Okay. So, anyways, again, it's a different topic. The important part is get your kids trained mentally. Teach them how to be aware of their surroundings. Teach them when can they be completely safe. They don't have to worry. The guard can be down. That's inside the house, essentially. If they step outside, they need to be aware. If they see someone approaching, extra aware. If a car drives past, they need to know to avoid that car. Do not go in the same direction of that car. Do not walk towards that car. So the situational awareness. Teach them they are in danger when they leave the house. Don't keep them in a bubble. And then there's the physical aspect. I have nothing against how Russia trains their children. I have nothing against how Japan teaches their children. There's one specific video here that I love, and I'll put it up here on the screen, where the kids are physically going through a similar style of training as military training. They are physically working and developing all their muscles, their movement, their coordination, the mental changes. They're running with their rifles. They understand the reason behind it. And that is what is important. Because when a situation and an event does happen, God's forbid, but we can clearly see this happens every day now, they will know what to do. I mean, even with the highest level of trained people, who law enforcement, fire department, police, cops, military, whatever, you go through all your training, and then some do freeze up. It's a thing. You do freeze up when, for the very first time you experience something, for the very first time you need to take a life, or whatever the scenario is. I get that. But now that is also the difference in how we used to raise our kids. If I think about my ancestors, the Vikings, if a boy became the age of a man, he went to every single public execution. His father took him to whenever someone had to be executed, for even if it's, if the household deemed it necessary. If a slave didn't behave, a slave had to be punished. So kids were exposed to these things so early on that eventually became second nature to do what is right and needed whenever it happens, whenever they need to protect their families, whenever they need to protect their countries, so their communities, their tribes. There was not time to freeze up. If they want to close their eyes are forced open by the dad, because the fathers and the men of the tribes realized the importance of raising warrior men. Today we have way too many leftist men, soy boys. And you know what? I'm with Donna White on the whole mental illness thing. Oh man, that's another topic. I'll leave that for later. I'll leave that for another session. Do you know how fun you can make training for kids? You can role play. Parents can role play. And I saw this one. I'll put it on the screen. It is so cool how the parents are role playing with the child, so that the child can realize, oh, when this happens, I need to do this. Yes, they maybe not applying, the necessary strength, or it was the same when I trained the children. There's no way, I'm an adult. So if I really applied force, they won't, they're practicing counter attack or whatever, would need to be a lot stronger and not playful when, I really intend to hurt them. But again, the element of surprise, and if the adrenaline rush is high, if they understand I'm in serious danger, this is not playtime, this is not coach, or master trying to teach me now, I need to make this work, they will do what they need to do. I mean, it doesn't take much to hurt your eyeball. So even small fingers ramming into it full speed at, the strength and speed of whatever a 5-year-old can do, it's going to hurt like a bitch. And it's going to create a 2.5 second to 3 second distraction. Hopefully the attacker drops the kid, or not even grab the kid if the kid was still, grounded, and they can run and scream. So role play, make it fun. Teach your kids. Have the serious conversations. Simulations are phenomenal. That comes in only after I would be of the opinion and say your kid needs to be trained at least for several months, 3 months, every single day. Train them about the dangers, to have talks with them, serious talks. They need to understand, even if they're stressed, even if they're scared, talk them through it, but make them feel empowered based on how they can act and encounter. Because with empowerment comes reduce in stress. Reduce of the fear that I might fail, or I'm gonna fail, or I don't know what to do. I don't know how to protect myself. And with that empowerment comes mental strength and emotional strength and less freaking out when something actually does happen. Then when the simulations come, when you see, you know what, my kid is actually ready, we can simulate. Create an environment. Get a friend over. Put a thing over their face or whatever. Have them try and abduct your kid out of the yard, whatever the case might be. And it sounds brutal. Guys, it sounds fucking brutal. But we live in a brutal world. We live in a world where this is just every day now. The news agencies aren't even covering it. If it's not for if it's not for us as citizens, who's really making all of this heard and spreading the news and breaking the internet, no one will know that any of this is happening. So, train your kids. Take them shooting. Take them to a shooting range. Get them crossbows. Take them to a place where they can actually go and shoot. Teach them skills. Teach them how to... In my education was fucking useless. Useless. I wasted 10 years, 12 years of my life because I learned nothing that I can use today. What I should have learned is how to protect myself against sexual predators, how to build a business, how to avoid governments using and abusing and owning me, how to fight legal battles. That is what we were meant to be taught. So instead of nagging your kid about getting straight A's and killing them with the educational system that's currently reality, teach them skills that can actually save their lives. And make it fun. At first, make it fun. I mean, I have got such a competitive personality. Like, at first you can, make it fun, don't apply the pressure. But I get so addicted to the adrenaline, and I am sadistic. It's no secret. That, the more pain you inflict, the harder I will try to win the combat. The harder I will try to overpower you by using strategy, by using skill. And because I'm a female, fuck, bruh. We are, as females, at a disadvantage already. So you need to train your daughters all the more, and also teach them to not break down mentally and go on a freaking rampage. When something happens, they have to use their brain. Or at least they need to be so seriously trained in some martial arts that, all thoughts are almost pushed out and they only go on muscle memory. They only act upon muscle memory. And they put the attacker down on the ground. The US alone has, there's mixed reports. Obviously, data is never captured the way it should be captured, but convicted sexual offenders are forced to register with the registry. In the US alone, there's reports of, I think it's 917,000 sexual offenders. In the UK, 70,000 only convicted sexual offenders. 70,000 in the UK. 8 million children go missing every year. 8 million children goes missing globally. That can be your child. That can be my child. How do we prevent that from happening? Because you have to actually prevent the kidnapping. Because if you don't, it's done. You've missed your chance. And if you're not there to prevent it, you have to give your child this skill and equip them in order to prevent it themselves. To create a gap, to create a distraction, so that they can get help from another adult. And unfortunately, we live in a time where there's so many fucking leftists, and they believe, you know what, it's fine if a brown man wants to kill my husband. It's fine if a brown man, an Islam man, wants to stab my kid. It's fine. I'll give them a house. I'll give them food too. I'll forgive them. So adults tend to turn a blind eye. But it's done. We need to wake the fuck up. We need to ensure that we at all times have people who are willing to get involved and not turn a blind eye when someone needs help. People are so numb to crime and evil. And it's not getting us anywhere. It is not getting us anywhere. We are allowing them to take our lives and our freedom. Is that what our ancestors fought for? I am so proud of these young generations now. Like we've had to see something good happen the last few weeks. And yes, it's horrifying scenarios. It's terrible. It's awful that parents will even send their children to go to a fucking mosque as part of a school trip. But you know, we had to see that there will be at least one child, a man, standing up for what he was raised to believe is right, what is honorable. And his freedom was not taken away from him. That young boy who saved that girl, he will forever be a hero. And I hope that his parents are so proud of him. I hope that his parents work extra hard to train him even harder. Because we're going to need our kids. We're going to need these generations to stand with us. To end this. To end all this evil. To set the balance. Because we're out of balance. We are so far out of balance, guys. And we've waited too long. But wake the fuck up. Be appreciative of the good things that happen. Be amazed. It actually, you know, it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be that we are so surprised that kids actually stood up for what is right. Because it should be the norm.
OP displaying that wrestling foundation, and booyah, another big slam, and Days is Sticks. Sticks is just out of it.
But it's because we waited too long. We've allowed them to take our lives, take our freedom, take everything. And now we want to put up a fuss. But it's fine. Better late than never. Better late than never. So can we all just remember where we come from? Can we remember the blood that runs through our veins? Can we remember what we were raised to believe is right and honorable? And can we protect our own, our people? Because the white replacement, the great replacement is happening. And if we don't put a stop to it, it's going to be too late. Teach your children, get them trained, make it fun, give them skills they can actually use. They will thank you, and you will thank yourself if your kid can prevent his or her own death. Maybe the next person's death. Maybe all your kids turn out to be heroes because you decided to wake up and raise them right and get them out of their bubbles. Let's get through this Pride Month. Let's protect our children against sexual offenders. Let's turn our children into warriors. Let's turn ourselves into warriors. Get yourself out of your bubble. Get out of bed. Go train. Not just weight training, actual training that can help save your life if you need to. If you find yourself in the position, the unfortunate position. Train yourself to be able to kick the living bejesus out of someone, an attacker. If you need to. Keep it fun. Keep it fun. But can we wake up the warriors that is still within? Wake up, warriors.